Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Shall we start, sir?
Yeah, I am ready.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Okay. So, I'll introduce today's speaker with all of you, Dr. R.S. Sugeen Herbert, who completed BNYS and PhD in psychology. And he is currently as Assistant Medical Officer in Government District Headquarters Hospital, Padmanapuram. And he is having a 22 years of experience in clinical and teaching line. So, welcome you, sir, on this platform. Thank you, sir. Shall we start, sir?
Yeah.
Yes,
I- Shall I start?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So my voice is clear.
Yes, sir. It's clear and video is visible, sir.
No. So good evening to all. It's my pleasure to be in front of you. And the topic which was asked is precautions and techniques of acupuncture for beginners. So I'm going to discuss the baseline, and if there is any doubt, we shall discuss later. So before starting that, we should share the screen. Yeah. So yeah. So we should understand that we must be safety enough uh, before starting the treatment. I'm just going practically. I am not going to touch any theory part. So the safety of the physician is or therapist, acupuncturist is very important. We should clearly understand that, and we shouldn't be hurry anywhere, and we need to be relaxed, patient, without nervous. That is the first thing we need to understand. And so for safety, even the area where you keep the needle or how you handle the needle, everything is important. I will let you know later. And if at all there is any risky patient with a cough or cold, it's better to wear a mask, and you can have a gloves for with you, and wear the gloves so that you will be more protected, and you better sanitize your hands with the same surgical spirit what you use for acupuncture needling, or you can go for any hand sanitizers. So these are the basic thing you should know. Without cleaning your hands, you never touch the needle. This is a very important thing. Uh, And as far as precautions are concerned, the needle must be clean. So see, look at this. Once as you can see the video, isn't it? The needle must be clean enough, and look at the tip of the needle so that yeah. See, look at the tip of the needle. You can, if you have got any doubt, you can change the needle. So olden days needle used to be, polished with that what is that goldsmith stone is there, no? In that it will be polished. Nowadays it is machine cut, so there is no much problems in the needle. But the needle must be safety enough. So the next one is yeah. The next one is needle handling. That is very, very important. I am not talking about what is that pricking, just handling the needle. So see, whenever you touch the needle, either hold at the handle, or if at all you are happen to hold the shaft, always take a piece of cotton and hold it. So this must be recorded in your mind. Okay. So hold with cotton. If at all you touch the shaft, if not, you hold at the handle itself. Okay. So nothing like the tip facing your fingers or outside. Even outside is dangerous if at all you prick somebody. And so many are nervous, so many are little uh, busy with some other activities, and you will forget that you hold the needle. So if at all you are busy with other activities, always keep in the cotton, hold it. So it will be very safe, and even your needle is not infected or exposed to any other germs or external things. So the next one is you should bother about broken needles. So this is a important thing. Broken needles. There are so many needles cracked. Needles may have crack at the shaft. So this needle may break, and this is very rare. But other one you should remember is some needles, the tip of the needle will not be sharp, and there may be small debris at the tip. So what you do is, take the cotton, keep the shaft of the needle inside, and have a pull. Okay, you pull it out so that if at all anything scratches the, or you find anything interrupting, anything scratching with the cotton, you throw off the needle. Don't use that needle. So for every needle, you take a piece of cotton, you know hold it hold the needle with the help of cotton between your index finger and thumb, and pull the needle up, so that if at all there is any uh, you know unclean debris or broken part in the needle, immediately you'll be able to find out. Hold it tightly and pull it up. Okay. And that is how you find a separate the a needle which has got a chance of break. And the next one is about struck needles. Struck needles, you might have read in the book also. Needles get struck once a while. You prick, and afterwards, once you prick, you will not be able to remove the needle. Like, see, you prick, and the needle will be stuck inside, and you may not be able to remove. And one reason may be broken needle, or the patient is patient's muscles are tightened unnecessarily, maybe anxiety or something. You make the patient to relax first, then give pressure to the surrounding area, and finally close to the needle, very close to the needle. Give very nice pressure. So once you find that the skin is relaxed, then you can go for removing the needle and with your pressure very closer to the needle. Okay, and struck needles are very common complaint in acupuncture practice, and if you pull out with your strength, then the patient will not come to you from the next day. So that you have to understand. uh, and the next is forgotten needles. This you must be knowing. You know forget the patient and go somewhere else, and after coming to the patient, you may not know how many needles you have pricked actually. So once you forget one needle, then you know that and the problems. So better what you can do is place some cotton in a box and you know write the name of the patient and the number of the needles in that. If it is 7 needles, always carry 7 needles. And even if you use 5 or 6, let the one be there in the box. Okay, so that when you remove it, you can count it and close the box. Or you can take a piece of paper, write down how many needles, and keep it near the patient, and come back. Once you come, you see the paper and remove the needles accordingly. So we will be overconfident actually. We will never forget. So and that may not be even you are expert in practice, there is a possibility of forgotten needles. So always remember, either you have the box and write the name and number of needles in it, or write in a paper and keep it near the patient. And the other important area is aggravation of symptom. This is a common issue. Patient comes for pain, you prick one day, and the symptoms aggravates in the next day. Patient comes and complains that the pain is increased, and in that case, you need to be uh, you know in a position to manage, because if you are a junior, if you are beginner, then you will be immediately tensed, nervous. So before starting the treatment, you should convince the patient to wait for at least 7 to 10 days to get proper result. And very rarely you get aggravated symptoms. But even if the symptom is aggravated, the patient should not get nervous, and even you should not get nervous. And if at all there is a wrong needling technique, or some misbehavior, practice, if the patient has followed, that also should be identified. Say like if you give treatment for peptic ulcer, the patient goes home and eat chili chicken or so, and comes next day and say that the symptom is aggravated, then you should be in a position to identify whether it is due to needling or due to his other practices. Okay, so aggravation of symptom must be clearly diagnosed and treated. The needle sterilization of the needle is one of the important matter. But once you use disposable needles, one use needles, you need not bother much about sterilization. You take one needle and apply the needle with the surgical spirit, that is more than sufficient, and you can directly go for pricking. And fainting is another complication of acupuncture practice. Patient falls fainted. So it's generally it happens with first time patient. Once the patient is coming to you and you give acupuncture for the first time, then always better to give the acupuncture in supine position. So supine position is ideal. Ask the patient to lie down on his back or her back, and hold the knees little bit, uh, support the knees with your pillow, and tell them to relax, then give the uh, then prick the needle, so that the patient will be relaxed. Even if there is any tiredness or fainting, he or she will manage things. So always remember, first time when you give acupuncture, supine position is the position. If at all you plan some needles at the back, avoid that needles on the first day, or you can make them to lie down prone position and avoid the needles at the front. Anything is okay, but supine position, they relax much, because they'll be able to see you, and you will be able to convince the patient when they lie down in supine position. So tiredness is another uh, thing you have to remember. Even if they are hungry, they will be tired. They may find tiredness when they work. When they come to you after hard work, they will be tired, etc. And about bruising and bleeding, there are cases, uh, you prick deeply. When you remove the needle, there will be bleeding. Okay, so first thing you have to remember is, you should understand anatomy. You should know where the artery or major vein runs, and you should always avoid such blood vessels while pricking. If it is nearby or over that, the needle has to go near to the vessel, not over the vessel. So this is a common thing you should understand. And if at all there is bleeding, generally the beginners, what they do is, the uh, cotton with the spirit will be there in their hand. Immediately they keep and press. So always remember that surgical spirit aggravates bleeding. So always remember that. So if at all there is bleeding, keep that cotton aside, and take some dry cotton, and keep it over that and press. Always try to arrest the bleeding with dry cottons, not with cotton with the surgical spirit. So this is one of the important thing. This is a common most mistake generally beginners do. So bleeding can be arrested in that way, or if at all you find that bleeding is not arrested, then go for proximal vessels. I mean, the yeah, go for a pressure to the proximal part of that particular vessel. Okay, see, if at all there is a bleeding at the radial artery, and you go little proximal and give a pressure at the forearm, or even at the elbow or so. So that can arrest bleeding. So pain is a common complaint generally patient shares with you. So of course, without pain it is bit difficult to uh, give acupuncture, learn acupuncture. But only when you learn to prick without pain, okay, then only you are a master. And actually what acupuncture says is, when you are capable of pricking a child, uh, that means when the child doesn't feel pain, then you are the master. So for that, you need to know a lot of needling techniques. I'll tell you that. So pain has to be managed. You should know which point pains generally. So there are hundreds of points in our body, and there are some points we go deeper, some points we go very superficial, shallow. So you should know which point to go deeper, and you should know which point pains. Sometimes even a deeper point won't pain. Sometimes even a superficial point pains a lot. So you should understand that the points at pin of ear, okay, ear auricle, or point at the face, point somewhere above the cartilages like nose. So these points will be very much paining. Then you should know how to handle that without touching the cartilage, how to handle the needle, and what is the speed, uh, you know, to be used and all. And something like points near the face, any points at the face is a bit painful, and points at the tip of the fingers and toes are a bit painful. Okay, sometimes deep needling also sometimes painful. So we should know the painful areas. With every patient, you should try to learn the painful points. So that is very, very important. Simply, if you neglect saying that this is okay, and that shows that you are not learning the thing. So every expression of a patient, you should try to learn something. And if a patient is relaxed, so you should learn something from that. Once you prick, and if the patient is happy with your prick, then you should learn something out of it. So you should know the painful areas, painful points, and the point where the pain is less, etc. uh, so other some painful conditions also increases the pain. Some conditions, if you prick, there will be more pain. Say some hypersensitive patients will be there, uh, you know like ankylosing spondylitis. So they'll be very sensitive to pain. So in that cases, even if you prick very carefully, neatly, and even if it is expertise pricking, a patient may complain the pain. In that case, you have to relax them, uh, reduce their anxiety, and better then go for pricking, so that you can avoid pain. So other less common complications like pneumothorax, injury to organs. So any injury to inner organs, internal organs can happen if at all the needling is deeper, and if at all the needling is practiced with the long needles to the thorax or abdominal area. So always you have to be careful with deep needling to abdominal or thoracic area, even with the spine or points near the spine, point facing towards spine. Injury to nerves are common, or even other places where nerves are superficial, like in popliteal foci, etc. uh, the needle may go over the nerve, if at all that, if at all the nerve damage occurs, or if the nerve is being cut or compressed, or the signal is lost, then it is very difficult to regain. It's not possible to regain. So injury to nerve is very, very uh, important point to be noted. Generally nerve damage will not occur because nerves generally slips from the needle. It's not like artery or vein. So but if it is exactly to the center and with force, when you prick, there is a possibility of getting pricked. And the infections, this is very, very important area. If at all you are missing something, if at all you know do some mistake, then there is a possibility of infection. So uh, when the needle is not hygienic, when the needle is not sterile, there is a possibility. When your cotton is not sterile, there is a possibility. When your finger is not sterile, there is a possibility of infection. Or when the surface of the patient is not cleaned properly, there is a possibility of infection. So always you should remember that the all materials involved in acupuncture practice must be clean enough. Even the box or container you in which you handle the needle must be clean. Take a cotton, dip it in surgical spirit, just give a rub. That enough actually to give proper uh, disinfection. And now the methods of puncture. There are so many methods of puncture, and we'll see one by one. I think everybody can look at this. I'll show some and is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So press and prick. So what you do is, you know, hold the needle at the handle, then support the hold the needle with thumb and index finger, and support the needle with middle finger. Support the needle with the middle finger. Support the touch the shaft with the middle finger. Then you can decide the length to be pricked with your middle finger. Okay, so that see, and aim at the point, give a prick. Okay, this is a common most practice generally. All trained, experienced acupuncture therapists do, practitioners do. Hold it with the two fingers, press the needle tightly, then support with a middle finger. Middle finger is free. Okay, it's not tight, it is very free, and aim at the point and prick so that the needle stops where the middle finger is placed, or when the middle finger touches the body surface. So this is what, see, this is one chin needle. I want to prick off chin, then prick it, remaining half will be outside. This is one chin needle. I want to prick for 3/4 of it, then hold like this, prick it, and 1/4 will be outside. And if I want to prick full needle, then I can fold like this, and everything goes inside. So see to that. Little part of shaft must be outside. You should not the handle should not touch the body. So this is wrong procedure. Once the handle is touching the body, this is a wrong procedure. So to lift little bit so that the shaft. I think you can see, everybody can see this. Okay. So this is one point, and the next one is grip and insert. So grip and insert is so what you do is, when you want to give deeper pricking, uh, what we do is we sterilize our hand properly, then hold the needle at the shaft, maybe some 0.2 chin away from the tip. Okay, this is where we grip, and prick the point fast. Prick the point fast. Okay. Then afterwards, hold it with the left thumb and index finger. Now hold with the left thumb and index finger, and at the shaft, and hold the handle with the right thumb and index finger, and now give a push so that the needle enters inside. Okay, so this is a technique for longer, deeper points, so that the needle will not get bent. Otherwise, if you prick in the other way for the deeper points, while pricking, the needle will get bent. So this gripping technique is very much useful in case of deeper needling. Hold it, press. Okay, I'll show you once again. Hold it, hold the needle like this, prick it, then hold with the left finger. Okay, so this is how the needle is pricked. So press and prick and grip and insert. The third one is pinch and prick. Pinch and prick technique is, you pinch the skin with the left index and index finger and thumb. Okay, pinch it, then prick at the peak. Prick at the peak. So the point must come to the peak so that it will be easy for you to prick. So you pinch and hold the skin and prick the needle at the peak of the folded skin. Okay, and pinch and prick. Some sensitive people may not like this technique because when you pinch, it may be painful. And the other one is stretch and prick. What you do is you stretch the skin. The other one you pinching is holding together. Now pushing apart so that the skin is stretched and then prick. So this is less painful actually in some areas where you find the wrinkles or something, or if the skin is very hard, then you can go for stretch and prick technique. So the other one is insertion through needle guide. This you must be following. So many beginners are following that only. So we have nowadays we get a pipe with isn't it all the needles. You can keep it over the point, then give a tap. Okay, so this is this can be practiced. It's very easy, you know that. So the next one is no touch technique. So this we don't practice generally in some countries. Uh, they practice no touch technique. What they do is they hold the needle with the forceps and prick it. Aiming is bit difficult, and some countries they touching. They avoid touching so that no touching method is used. So that also can be practiced, no problem in it. So this present prick you hold with your thumb and index finger, then support with middle finger and prick. Give a sudden prick. Okay, and grip and insert. You hold with your right thumb and index finger somewhere point to chin away from the tip, prick it, then leave the hand, hold with the left thumb and index finger, then insert the needle and pinch and prick. Pinch with the left thumb and index finger so that the point is elevated from the normal surface area and prick over the peak of the folded skin, and stretch and prick. Stretch the skin and prick it at the point. Insertion through needle guide. Use any supporting measures to insert so that the needle enters into the proper point. And no touch technique. Needling without touching the body. So these important techniques are generally in acupuncture practices. So more than everything, you should develop confidence by learning all these pricking techniques. This is very important. Remaining you will get in the text, no problem. But the pricking technique is very, very important. Take a brinjal or take a potato or a tomato or take a pillow or duster or whatever it is. Have it with you. Keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing, so that your aiming is good, your pricking is good, and your needle doesn't bend, and so on. So practice 100 to 200 times every day into 3 to 6 months continuously, and you'll be good in pricking. Then go for pricking your own body, then your friend's body, and so on. So proper pricking technique, you know, uh, improves your skill, and remaining comes its own. So once you know how to prick without training the patient, you become uh, number one acupuncture practitioner in your place. So I think if there is any doubt, you can ask.
All of us, like, if any doubt is there, you can unmute yourself or you can write in chat box so it can be taken now.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Tell me.
So what to do sometimes when we prick the needle gets stuck inside the skin and it's very hard to pull it out and the patient feels pain. What to do in that situation?
So this is a struck needle you are talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what you have to do is first avoid movements of the body as well as movement of the needle. Okay, leave the needle as it is. Then advise the patient to relax, give relaxation. Okay, then after the patient is relaxed, then stimulate nearby points. Okay, the surrounding area. If the needle is here, then keep stimulating, give mild pressure to nearby areas, like this, like this, like this. Give pressure. Once the nearby areas are stimulated and relaxed, rotate the needle slowly. If the needle, if you are able to rotate very freely, then you can try removing. If not, leave the needle for some time again, maybe for 3 to 5 minutes. Then you go for removing the needle. Once the patient is relaxed, generally you can remove the needle. Don't try to remove the needle immediately. That is very, very dangerous. Remember, every time you create pain to the patient, you are always you have the possibility of losing one patient. Okay, so leave it for 3 to 5 minutes, then you can take it in a relaxed manner, or first explain everything to the patient, so that patient is ready, then go for removing the needle. Okay, if you are hurry, then you will be in trouble.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Sir, in chat box, there are 3 to 4 questions, so we will take that question, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Questions in the chat box.
Yeah, sir. I'll speak so you can answer to them, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
from
I
the
am unable to go to
no, sir.
chat box.
I'll just help you in that, sir. Okay. So from Garima Garg, sir, there is a question: to guide us the methods of scalp needling, what precautions should be taken care of?
Read it once again.
To guide us the methods of scalp needling, what precautions should be taken care of?
Yeah. So scalp needling is a different style of technique. I have to show practically, then only you will be able to understand. Anyhow, I'll try to uh, give a demo with this. Scalp needling actually we give for 2 to 3 chun also. See, consider this as face and this is occiput, and this is the middle point of the head. So generally, like what is that? The motor area or sensory areas are downwards from here. So what you do is you prick it here, then push it beneath the uh, scalp, beneath the skin like this, so that the needle enters along with the bone almost somewhere near to the bone in the scalp, and it actually gets bent, okay, and comes down almost 2 to 3 chun it enters inside. I think when I came to SVSA, I took the class on that, and they have shown how to prick also. Okay, so if at all we find another time, I need a person to, and I don't know whether it is possible to show in this video. So prick it at the starting point, and the needle must end at the ending point. You go through the text in the, I think it is available in Jayasuriya book also. The point itself is a longer area. It's not a single point. Scalp needling, all the points will be in a line. So the needle must run through the line inside. Okay, and if you find difficult in pushing it down, then you can go for slow screwing movement, and you can push the needle inside, so that the needle reaches the other end of the uh, the line, like from the uh, vertex downwards, like this. Inside the scalp it runs. That is scalp needling. The other type of pricking used in scalp is not called as scalp needling. Say GB20 or extra 6, or there are so many points we use at the scalp. That is ordinary pricking. But a scalp needling, always the needle runs in the scalp. Is it okay?
Yes.
Then what else?
And then from Nehal Satra, sir, what if muscles are too tight to let the needle in? Like it won't go in, or what should we do if the muscles are tight? Nearby muscles.
Uh, See, if the muscle is tight, generally it is anxious of the patient. Okay, you are not prepared the patient actually. So you should convince the patient, telling about the acupuncture treatment, and the patient must be convinced. Then ask the patient to lie down, as I said in the beginning. Let them lie down on the bed, and then go for pricking. So if at all you find when you touch the skin itself, you will understand whether the skin is stiff or relaxed. If it is stiff, you try with the stretching method. Stretch the skin with your fingers, index finger and thumb. And if the skin is stretched properly, then you can prick, no problem. But in that case, don't prick very fast and to the maximum depth. The first technique I said, no, hold the needle at the shaft somewhere 0.2 to 0.3 chun from the tip, then give a sudden prick, so that it has to cross the skin, the outer layer of skin. Then you can give a pressure, it will go inside. Okay, otherwise the needle may get bent. It won't enter inside, and once the needle doesn't get entered, then it is a black mark on you. So always go for the other technique. Hold at the shaft, prick it, then push it. Okay.
Yes, sir. So next question from Kriti Mishra. Sir, can stretch and prick method cause bleeding? And which areas are used in pinch and prick method?
Stretch and prick cannot cause bleeding. So these are the techniques you can adopt, but I don't practice any of this technique. I just go for this technique only. So whenever, wherever you find, whichever you find convenient, you can adapt. So when this needling doesn't work out, then you can go for any other techniques. Stretching or pinching, everything is to make the needling easier. Pinching means, you pull this skin closer. Say some people used to, hold the index finger and thumb together to, prick on the Hegu, Li4. So that is a technique. This is almost like pinching technique, but we don't pinch actually, but we keep it together so that that particular point is elevated. You prick on the peak. So any of this type of needling can be used. There is no specific point, and that is up to you. Wherever there are small area, then there is no proper space for pricking, then you go for stretching. Stretch it, then prick the needle. Or you know uh, if at all there is inner vessels or bones very close to the skin, then go for pinching and then prick it, so that you need not bother about inner structures much. You prick it and then leave it. So the underneath the structures are safe now. So that is the uh, thing you can follow. Otherwise, always go for the ordinary technique. Hold it, prick it.
Yes. So next question is, the name is not mentioned, but the question is, what is the angle of puncture, sir, when during the needling?
Angle.
Should be.
Yeah. So generally, we go for three type of puncturing: 90-degree, 45-degree, and 15-degree. So this is a, common style of practicing. Uh, so 90-degree, almost all do that. But we should what we should understand is 90-degree means 90 degree to the skin surface. Okay. Uh, we should understand the anatomical position, and uh, hold the needle, prick it 90 degrees. Okay. So when it comes 45-degree, you should know, in both the direction you should learn to prick. See, like this or like this, because otherwise you should keep rotating the patient to find the correct direction to the needle. Okay. So if it maybe away from you or towards you, both the direction you should learn to prick. So 45 means 45-degree angle. So it must stay at that particular angle. So so when you prick, there should not be any hesitation. See, the angle must be exact. So always remember, the area where the tip touches is the point. So if at all this is the point, just note down. Say I'll select a specific point. See this. I think this white area you can see. If at all you find the point is some 0.2 chin below this, and you want to go for 45-degree angle needling, always go some 0.2 chin proximal to that particular point. Okay. So you can I hope you can understand. If at all you want to pick 45-degree from the other side, then two chin away from that particular point. Okay. So that the inner point where you want to reach will be same. Okay. That is very important. Some people forget that. So when there is a slanting needling, generally they go for the point itself. So you should know where you are aiming. So when it is prescribed, like in spine and all, you cannot go for both direction needling. So always towards spine, then it is prescribed point. You can prick over the point and then push it inside. That is the point actually. So point will be somewhere near to the spine, but what is prescribed is 0.5 chin away from the spine, or 1.5 chin away from the spine. So you prick it and push the needle towards the spine. So that reaches the point. It is if it is half chin or one chin or whatever it is, slant needling. You must understand the concept of acupuncture, and you should always remember, always have that particular point, deeper area in your mind, and then you have to aim at that. Not like what is that quackery practices, simply pricking somewhere nearby. Okay, and the 15 degree all bit difficult to prick towards you, because always the thumb sorry, the middle finger will be interrupting you. If at all you want to prick 15 degree needle towards you, then always you have to keep the middle finger away from other fingers. With only two fingers, with the help of only two fingers, you have to go for 15 degree needling. And if it is away from you, then of course it's very easy. Okay, because there is no interruption with the middle finger. So always pricking away from our body is easier and safer. Of course, you must know to prick towards also. Then only you are called as acupuncture practitioner. Okay, so anyway, you can use it. So perpendicular and 45 and 15 degree needling.
There is next question. Like I'll take two questions here, sir. You can give some advices to prick on thin patients, and how to remember the points for the particular points, like while selecting the patients or selecting the points. How to remember?
How to remember the point?
Key points to remember while selecting particular points for the patient.
Okay. So in the depth of the needling, you have to there will be a range in for some needle, 0.5 to 1 chin. If it is 0.5 to 1 chin, and for thin patient it is 0.5, and for very fatty patient it is 1. So if that is not given, that is the average depth you have to remember, and little less for the thin patient, and more for the fatty patient. So you have to imagine the anatomical structure below the particular point, and remember what what point it reaches when you prick for 0.5 or 1 chin. Okay, and aiming that particular anatomical location. If you go for pricking, then thin or bulky doesn't matter, because you will understand where that particular structure is placed, and you will aim at that particular structure, and you will reach that particular structure. Say if you want to aim at a muscle belly, and if you touches the body surface, you will understand how deep the particular muscle belly is. And if the patient is thin, then you know it is very superficial, and if the patient is bulky, you will know it is so deeper. So that aiming must be there. Or if it is in some points it will be mentioned like nearer to a particular bony prominence or whatever it is. So it's very easy if you know the anatomy to prick the needle and reach that particular area. So thin or thick doesn't matter if you have the proper anatomy knowledge of the internal structures lying beneath.
So next question is,
Anything else?
yeah, from Shobita. So can we give acupuncture to a patient who is under, like already under allopathic medication?
I think it
Sir, can we give acupuncture to a patient who is already under allopathic medication?
doesn't matter. Let him take allopathy medication. We can give acupuncture, no problem at all.
So next question is how to select most effective points for each person, whoever comes to us.
So selection of point itself is a major area. Sometimes beginners do this mistake. Even I have done. When a stroke patient comes, there will be paralysis of thumb to little finger, and big toe to small toe, and so on. So we will select one point for everything, and ultimately it comes 18 to 20 points. So actually that doesn't work. According to acupuncture, minimum needle is more effective. Okay, so you should have some common points to select uh, the acupuncture points. Common in the sense, see, patient may be diabetic, and he may have bronchial asthma, and he may have a lower back pain. So we try to go for some common point which has got so many, action, like Hegu, LI4 can be used distal point, no problem in it. Distal point for thorax or something. And LI4 itself is a point that it will be useful for respiratory problem and also for pain. And in that way, you have to select one point instead of selecting one point at the chest and one point at the painful area. Now you can reduce the point into one. So in this way, you keep, reducing the points, and by 3 to 4 years, it's not a difficult thing, but it comes with practice. But having all things in mind, start practicing, to reduce the needles, and it is very easy. Or you go for point selection according to traditional Chinese. Possible, but you learn a lot, and you should forget, selecting the needle by reading the indications and all. Okay, by looking at the symptoms, then you have to go for the 5 elements theory, etc. Then accordingly you have to mother-son law, etc. Accordingly you have to select the points. So anyhow, you keep trying to reduce the points, automatically it will come.
So we'll take last question as the time is less for us. What is the reason behind aggravation, and can we treat mallet finger through acupuncture?
Not audible properly.
Sir, what is the reason behind aggravation, sir?
Aggravations. So
Yes.
see, actually, aggravation is may not be due to acupuncture alone. Sometimes if there is a painful area, and if your pricking is wrong, and then if a muscle is stiff, then there may be a possibility of aggravation. So the pain is aggravated, and patient is depressed, and patient may not come to you for the next day, etc. So patient may aggravate. It may be your time. You prick the needle, as I said. You give the treatment. They go there. They eat something nonsense, and next day they come with the problem. So that is also aggravation only. So whatever it is, generally when there is a sudden stimulation, there is a possibility of aggravation, and that has to be, for that, what we can do is reduce the number of needle in the first day, common points first day, and gradually increase the number of needle, and give the specific points. So in that way, you can prevent go for a new patient. It's better to go for 1 or 2 needles for the first day, common points, and and next day you can slowly increase the number of needles so that the patient will be very comfortable with you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, to
Okay.
take all the questions from start to end. And I hope we will connect once more in some time whenever the time is permitting to us. Thank you so much, sir, to come on
It's
this small
time up, I think,
platform.
no?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
So we'll have the next session like whenever you will be free or available to us. And thank you so much, sir, to come on this
Yeah,
platform.
thanks to all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening patiently. Thank you for the organizers also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.